Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here at Journey of Faith with Pam. I hope you're all having a great day. We're going to get started here with our Bible verse. This one that we've got today is from Romans 3 5 through 5, and this reads, "More than that, we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us." That brings me to what I wanted to talk about today, and that's trials and tribulations. We've all had them, some of us more than others. But I know, at least with me, sometimes it may take me a couple of years, and once I'm far past that period, I can look back on that and I'm just like, yeah, I learned something from that. Sometimes I can even see, not was it a lesson, just a lesson to me, but sometimes how I'm a better person and that it even possibly made my life better. Now, like I said, we've all gone through some sort of challenges, but most of us have not faced quite the challenges that Job from the Bible did. At least, not all at once like he did. He had a loss of property, financial decline, humiliation, and death of loved ones all in a day. Now, Job, if you've never read the book of Job, that is a really, really good book of the Bible for you to read. There's a lot of lessons in that. Very well written. If you get the opportunity, please, please, please take a moment and read that. But I'm not going to go over the whole book. I'm just going to go through this and give you the highlights of it. Job was a very wealthy man. He had a large family, lots of land, extensive flocks. He was a very godly man. He was blameless, upright, and would always do his very, very best and was careful to avoid doing anything evil. One day, Satan appears before God in heaven. And God is so proud of Job that God begins to pretty much brag about Job. But Satan argues that Job is only good because God has blessed him so abundantly. So, Satan challenges God and tells God that he wants permission to punish this man, and that if Job is punished, Job will turn and curse God. God was so convinced that was not who Job was. God allows Satan to torment Job, to test him and to hold him and to see if his character was true. But there was one thing he told Satan. He forbid Satan from taking Job's life in the process. Now, in the course of just one day, Job received 4 messages, each bearing separate news that his livestock, servants, and 10 children have all died due to either invaders or natural catastrophes. Job, of course, is devastated. He tears his clothes and shaves his head in mourning, but he still blesses God in his prayers. Satan can't believe it. He appears in heaven again, and God grants him another chance to test Job. This time, Job is afflicted with horrible skin sores. He's in pain and agony. His wife can't stand it anymore. His wife is begging and pleading with Job. Just curse God, she begs him, and give up and die. You may ask, well, why would a wife want their husband to die? Probably because she couldn't stand to see the struggling and suffering that her husband was going through. But Job refused. He decided to accept his current circumstances, and he still give blessings to God. Shortly thereafter, 3 of Job's friends, and I'm not going to try and give you their names because my pronunciation of names is horrible and I don't want to butcher their names, so I'm going to refer to them as his 3 friends. Anyways, 3 of Job's friends came to visit with him. They sat with Job in silence for 7 full days out of respect for his pain and the mourning and the grief that he had gone through. On the 7th day, Job speaks, beginning a conversation in which each of the 4 men shares their thoughts on Job's affliction and why he was going through this torture and torment. Job begins with and curses the day he was born, comparing life and death to light and darkness. He wishes that his birth had been shrouded in darkness and longs to have never been born. Feeling that light or life only intensifies his misery. One of Job's friends responds to him saying, who he had comforted, this one friend had comforted many people in the past. Now we can see that possibly this friend of his didn't truly understand people's pain like he thought he did. Anyway, his friend goes on to tell him it must be the fact that Job's agony must be due to some sort of terrible sin that Job has committed. And he urges Job to seek God's favor and to ask for forgiveness. His other 2 friends agree that Job has committed evil to offend God and ask them again to ask for God's forgiveness. One of his friends even suggested that possibly Job's own children brought upon themselves their own deaths. They were convinced that Job had committed terrible sins. Job responded to each of their remarks, growing so irritated that he calls his friends worthless physicians and that they were speaking nothing but lies. He thinks about the relationship with God and man. Job questions it. He wonders why God judges people by their action. If God can just as easily alter or forgive their behavior, it is also unclear to Job how a human can appease God's justice. Moreover, humans cannot possibly persuade God with their words. Job did not know what to do, how to get back into God's good graces. Job wishes for someone who can mediate between himself and God, or for God to send him to the deep place of the dead. Job's friends are offended that he scorns their wisdom. They think his questions are crafty and lack the appropriate fear of God. And they use many analogies to stress their ongoing point that nothing good comes from wickedness. They were still convinced that Job had committed a sin and he was being punished for his sin. But Job sustained his confidence in the spite of these criticisms, responding that even if he had done evil, it was his own personal problem. But he knew he had not. He was so confused. He did not know what to do. Without provocation, another friend of Job suddenly enters the conversation. The young friend believes that Job has spent too much energy vindicating himself rather than God. The friend explains to Job that God communicates with humans by two ways: in visions. Just a moment. Sorry about that. His friends had expressed that either God can communicate with humans either by visions or physical pain. Them to be that for us to get lessons, we have to have pain. He says that physical suffering provides the sufferer with the opportunity to realize God's love and forgiveness when he is well again, understanding that God has called him from the impending death. So if we go through suffering and we didn't die, we should be grateful. Well, I guess to a point that's true. But if you have not done anything wrong, so the more and more, Job is just getting more and more angry. And so they are blaming more and more and more on Job. And something was wrong. They just felt assured that Job had to have done something wrong. And God finally interrupts their conversation, calling from a whirlwind and demanded Job to be brave and respond to his question. God questions him, intending to show how little Job knows about creation and how much power God alone has. God describes many detailed aspects of his creation, praising especially his creation of two large beasts. He went on and overwhelmingly spoke of his creation. Job acknowledges God's unlimited power and admits the limitations of his human knowledge. This response pleases God, but he is upset with Job's three friends for spouting poor and unsound advice. Job comes to his friend's defense and intervenes on their behalf, and God forgives him. God returns Job's health, providing him with twice as much property as before. He even bore him new children and gave him an exceedingly long life. What does that tell us? It doesn't matter. Some of us can be the best people on the earth, but we're all going to go through things. The book of Job is one of the most celebrated pieces of biblical literature, not only because it explores some of the most profound questions humans ask about their life, but it also because it is extremely well written. It goes in and it tells, and there's many places in there that it's asked, well, why is the bad man or the man that has done wicked or evil, why does it appear sometimes that the wicked are rewarded? And why, no matter how good we have done, what we have done, that it still seems like we're being punished? Why? We all have those questions, but we're all going to go through it, no matter what we've done. Did you know that even Abraham Lincoln was seen many, many times, constantly reading the book of Job? And I think that was because possibly even Abraham Lincoln, too, faced his many, many, many trials and tribulations. And it was reassurance probably for him even to know that Job went through the same thing. We've all gone through it. No matter who we are, no matter how good we are, we still go through trials and tribulations. But we still must hold faith with God and Jesus Christ. We have to. We, even if we are not rewarded on this earth, we will be rewarded in heaven. And that's the ultimate goal. And we can't ever doubt that. We have to keep that faith and know that God will always be with us. Jesus Christ is always there for us. And please, if you do get the opportunity, please go get the Bible, check out the book of Job, read that, and I really think you'll enjoy it. But I'm going to say bye-bye for now, and we'll talk again next time. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.